So I'm pretty proud that I'm a clean comedian. I try to do clean comedy. I have my fantasy is to appear at this place called the Drybar in Provo, Utah. And the best clean comedians from all over the United States appear there. And it's more of a rural crowd, which I'm very content with. Imagine myself, I'm standing on that stage, I'm looking out. And some of the audience are smiling at me, and they're wearing their work boots, and their jeans, and their red and black flannel shirts, and their Bass Pro Shop hats. And that's just the women in the audience. I'm Jay Porter, and I fight for truth, justice, and the right to wear spandex. Good evening, Tommy Tees! Yeah. I got a little confused tonight. I thought I was showing up here to audition for a new reality TV show, America's Next Great White Rapper Over 60. And so, folks, I traveled all over the United States for 40 years. Worked in animal management, that's called construction. And when I retired, I took up stand-up comedy. I actually wanted to become an Instagram influencer, but I was simply unwilling to get the boob job. And here I am, I'm in retirement, and inflation's killing me. It's killing everybody. And so I think I need a new side gig. I think I'm going to set up an OnlyFans site for myself. And I'm going to sell pictures of my feet. That's because there's a lot of sick people out there into S&M. And you know what S&M stands for? Some of you do. Sandals and moccasins. So I'm pretty proud that I'm a clean comedian. I try to do clean comedy. I have my fantasy is to appear at this place called the Drybar in Provo, Utah. And the best clean comedians from all over the United States appear there. And it's more of a rural crowd, which I'm very content with. Imagine myself, I'm standing on that stage, I'm looking out. And some of the audience are smiling at me, and they're wearing their work boots, and their jeans, and their red and black flannel shirts, and their Bass Pro Shop hats. And that's just the women in the audience. So people all the time are asking me, why do you have such a tall microphone thing in front of you? But anyway, what do you do to stay busy in retirement? Well, I want to share some things this evening. One is, I'm ashamed to say I scroll too much. The thing about scrolling is you have to watch that algorithm, because if you watch puppy videos, you get puppy videos. If you watch kitten videos, you get kitten videos. And if you watch 400-pound women on stripper poles, don't linger. And then there's television. I try not to watch a lot of TV. Got a whole lot of channels and not a lot on. What's the evening prime time now? Remakes of game shows from 60 years ago? New game shows that just don't make any sense. Tonight from ABC TV, it's gender hijinks galore on What Pronoun Am I? And then there is reality TV. Shows like the 600-pound pimple-popping housewives of Orange County. And then you get to the weekend. It goes off the rail more. Ancient alien theorists. Where was that on career day in high school? I could have grown up to be a crop circle decoder. Maybe even an alien autopsy leader. And so one thing is I spend a lot of time watching out for my health. I go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. I lift weights, I swim. And I only have one problem at the gym. It's the attire that some of the young ladies wear. You see, some of these young girls come in skin tight, flesh tone yoga shorts, or as I refer to them as camel toe accentuators. And I've been trying to watch my diet. I went to have my physical a couple of weeks ago. And of course, your doctor, they're always pushing the plant-based, the vegan. I evaluated where I'm at. Right now, I'm about 2% vegan. And if I was milk, I'd be pretty darn healthy. And veganism is putting a lot of stress on modern relationships. I heard two women talking just the other day. Well, have you talked to your husband about going vegan yet? And she responded, well, yes, I have, but unfortunately, he still has his testicles. But I've determined, I've looked into this a little bit more, that I can have one vegan meal a day, and all of you can. We can do this together, Oreos and potato chips. We can all do that, right? But I'm always looking for that silver bullet diet that's going to solve my weight loss problems, your weight loss problems. And I found something that's really working. It's called the wine diet. And so far, I've lost 3 days. And so, where I'm at in life, I have an opportunity to think about things that you just don't have time to think about because you're still working. So one of the things I get to thinking about the other day is, I'm reading an article on unusual college majors. And one of the majors was puppetry. What kind of darn classes do you have in puppetry? Sock puppets 101? Marionette management? Ventriloquism, when good puppets go bad! And then I came up with something in this very comedy club a few weeks ago. You see, I figured out that the entire women's fragrance and perfume industry was getting it wrong. I come to this comedy club and I forgot my wallet. And as the evening went on, I was getting hungry as a bear. And then these women start walking past my table and I go, you smell like nachos. And then here's, why the heck would you name a brand of condoms Trojans? When I think of Trojans, I think about a gift entering a gate. Inside that gift, there's an army. And when that army escapes, it causes chaos and destruction. So speaking of chaos and destruction, I have 2 grandsons aged 5 and 7. I'm driving them home the other day. Out of the back of the car, the little one goes, when I grow up, I'm going to buy a blue bearded dragon, but not off the dark web. And the older one goes, yeah, that's a sketchy website. My head whips around like Linda Blair from The Exorcist. And I go, where did you hear about the dark web? And they go, YouTube videos. So parents, grandparents, do your kids and grandkids a favor. Please expose them to those old, extremely violent, politically incorrect Looney Tune cartoons where they're going to learn about classical music from Bugs Bunny and theoretical physics from the Coyote. Can we do this, folks? So we're all here this evening to laugh a little, smile a little. And recently we've had a lot of stressful news, bad news, wherever you're at in the political spectrum, it ain't good. So I want to take us back to a couple of stories just a few weeks ago when the world seemed a whole lot saner. The first one, you all remember that CEO of a huge corporation and his corporate personnel director, and they're at the concert and the Jumbotron Kiss Cam comes on and they're in love's embrace. They had this look of horror on their face. And I said, where have I seen that look of horror before? And I said, those old classic Dracula movies where Dr. Van Helsing is walking down to the crypt and he runs into the vampires and he pulls out his cross and he goes, So, in the work world, your sexual harassment policy when I worked was you had to let your supervisor know and your personnel person know if you were going to have a relationship with work. Do you know that the Kiss Cam couple were in perfect compliance with their sexual harassment policy? Now, when things used to go wrong at work, something really bad, sideways, we would have what we call the Come to Jesus meeting. And that's where everybody in the company would come in for a mandatory training. So can you just imagine the Come to Jesus meeting here? Hi, my name's Jennifer. We're reviewing our new sexual harassment policy today. Do we have our PowerPoint presentation up? Yes, well, okay. Page 1. I'd like everybody to read this with me. Do not bang the CEO. We have that. Okay, let's go to page 2. Page 2, do not bang the personnel director. Everybody have that? The second story here I want to talk about. Cracker Barrel. The Southern themed restaurant that was going to become Panera Bread with grits. And they've changed directions. But in my mind, I knew what that dining experience was going to be if they had become what we all feared they were going to become. So I'm going to share that with you this morning, right now. Good day. My name is Jay. I will be your waiter today. How may I welcome you this morning? Could I start you off with a mocha soy latte? And we have our new menu with many new vegan items. May I highly recommend our Impossible Chicken Fried Steak, our gluten-free biscuits as a side with oat milk gravy. Yum, yum. And y'all look like such a nice table, such a nice group of people. You just seem like, I bet you checked that box. You ready to check that box right now? And if you check that box, we're going to round up that purchase to the next dollar. And that little bit of money is going to support gender-affirming care for bipolar cats. So I'll be back to take your order in just a little bit. So by now, y'all have figured that I'm originally from Appalachia. I'm originally from West Virginia. And just letting y'all know, I'm coming out of my hillbilly closet. And a lot of you are going, oh no, it's the Bay Area. Don't come out of your closet. Please don't do that. You're never going to make it. Well, I'm going to tell you something now. We hillbillies now, we have a hero. We have a champion. We have a hero. And that person is J.D. Vance. And so I heard during that vice presidential debate, he was given the hillbilly side-eye on stage. And a lot of people post on social media that they found that strangely attractive. Now, it's not hard to imagine J.D. there, shoeless, wearing a pair of overalls, no shirt, only one strap, and somewhere up in the hills of Berkeley, some older liberal cat lady in the privacy of her own bedroom watching that debate goes, I've been bad, J.D. I've been bad. J.D., take me to the woodshed. J.D., take me to the woodshed now. I think y'all kind of shocked. So I'm going to close up here with a little story about me and my wife. We have been married 42 years. People ask me all the time how we do it. And I said, I always reply with the logical answer, well, you haven't seen me naked. He didn't have to laugh. But I'm going to tell you a little story of a trip my wife and I made a number of years ago. So men our age, we developed what I'm going to call a leakage problem. And to rectify that, we will wear a pee pad. So I hadn't had this problem very long, and we're heading out to the airport. Get up, put my pee pad on, start to go through TSA. That stands for tension, stress, and anxiety. And I always volunteer. I have artificial knee, artificial hip. And so I always get a little extra wandy. So I go through and they do the extra wanding. And then this TSA agent starts wandering around my groin area. And then he starts patting around my groin area. And this keeps going on. I'm going, what's going on? I look behind me and on the computer screen is an outline of my body with a white rectangle over my groin. And at that moment, I knew I was a suspected pee-pad terrorist. The wanding continued, the patting continued, the patting continued, the wanding continued. It just kept going on. And finally I was like, excuse me, sir. I am wearing a pee pad. If you will just allow me to reach in, pull it out, you can examine it, and we can all go about our day. Well, one cannot just be brandishing a pee pad of mass destruction at the airport. And so this employee did what any good employee would do. They got their supervisor involved. Not a supervisor by accident. He saw I was wearing a belt. So I removed my belt. The wanding continued, the patting continued. And then I put my microphone up here 12 foot in the air. And so he started to do a frisking along my sides. Up and down, got more vigorous. And my pants started to fall off. Out of the goodness of his heart, he allowed me to put one hand to hold my pants up and the other hand in the air. The wanding continues, the patting, the frisking, it goes on and on. I'm beginning to feel hopeless, alone, violated. As I start looking around for that one person I can depend on, the anchor of my life, the love of my life, my wife, I turn around and I see her. And she has turned her back on me and is chortling in laughter. Well, the frisking continued, and then he informed me of an official TSA maneuver called the crotch grapple. Yeah. After the appropriate or inappropriate crotch grappling was performed, I stumbled off, shoeless. I didn't know. I stumbled shoeless. I stumbled forward. My pants still about to fall off. I didn't know if I needed a cuddle or a cigarette. But as God is my witness, I will never wear a pee pad to the airport again. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.